You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero.
Great morning, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're gonna be doing a solo show, most likely through the rest of these 2 weeks. In the meantime, Piper is back. Piper, if you're watching, guys, if you're watching, stay by the end of the show. I got you an Easter egg on the outro. Go check that out. I think it's gonna be just for today. I'm not sure, depending how many likes we get at the end of the show. If we get enough likes, I'm gonna keep it. If not, I'll just put it back into the drawer once again. But I mean, stay around. I prepared a little Easter egg for you guys. Let me fix this right here to my left. There we go, so I can read you guys. And there it is. Get you guys centered. All right, perfect. We have a lot of things to go through. First couple of announcements. Around these 15 days, I'm gonna be doing 3 classes out of the out of the 5 on the end of the night. So training with OC is gonna be just capped at 3 classes. That's because of the workload that I have right now ongoing right now on the work. And well, then this show is gonna continue as normal. And of course, at the end of the show, we're gonna be taking a look at a couple of stuff. Really quick, we're gonna be just speeding through a couple of things. Today it's like a test run, so just making sure everything is playing out, that we touch on the market. So it's gonna be a little bit of a short show. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining, and let's get started with you guys, because you guys are the most important part of the show. We have Bro Koshi. What's up, bro? Harp. What is up, my friend? Welcome. Great to have you here. CJ Taylor, what's up, bro? Welcome. Great to have you here. Loco for Crypto, what's up? Welcome, my friend. Robert Mulligan, what's up, my friend? Good morning, OC. Good morning to you, my friend. We also have Dave Digital. How's it going? What's all Junior? What's up, brother? Good morning. Good morning. Let's go take a look at the charts really quickly, and then let's jump into the news. All right, so we are right here on Bitcoin chart. This is the 4-hour chart. Basically, we are in the same spot that we are in. A couple of things in here. Long story short, I think we're going to have one more pull down to the downside, and then we might have a reversal to the upside, and that might have to do with liquidity, all right? So let's go take a look at what's going on at this area. First of all, we're riding on top, and I know I have a bunch of things in here, so let me try to make it, there we go, as clean as possible. And we are riding along this trend line right in here, right? So I cannot move it, but you see the importance of this trend line. I mean, big support, sort of like support, but it did have a little range in here, breakthrough, little range. That means that's still valid as a support and resistance. Big resistance, big support, big support. Once again, we're getting closer. We already have that flip of the ribbon, and it seems like we might have a tiny, itty bitty, tiny goose head in here. Let's not get fooled by that little goose head. Why? And that is because of the money flow. And we have some counter or non-intuitive data in here on the oscillator, all right? And that is because, look at that, we're doing higher low. That is great. But at the same time, we are kind of like a reversing. So if we start losing that area, be careful. Most likely we're going to have something like that. And then finally, by maybe the end of this week or heading into Christmas, we might have that pump. I mean, it's a classic. Heading into Christmas, we are seeing Bitcoin pumping. Remember last year, same thing happened. Remember the year right after the bear market on the previous cycle, the same thing happened, right? Remember, we had a lot of news titles saying, hey, Merry Christmas for Bitcoin holders. It was not an all-time high, but it was a dead cat bounce, leading to then a further dip within the market. I'm not saying that we are right on the bear market. Seems like we are heading that way, but remember, we still have that light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to be looking at that. Thus, the actual thumbnail of today's session. All right, so that's what I got on Bitcoin. Let's go into the news. And let's take a look at what is going on in here. Okay, so let's get started first with some general news. And first, let's just get the hopium out of the way. All right, so really quickly, this is not something that I stand by. All right, but oh, this was not it. It was this one here. All right, Cardano price bears cap ADA below key mass as consolidation drags on. So this is not something new. And well, we can see market cap of Cardano. We're going to be taking a look at Cardano. Just wanted to go over that really quickly. This is, where was it? Come on, don't tell me that I lost it. Oh, so quickly and already it doesn't want to play with me. Let's go over here. And this is what I was talking about. Big week and with big bonuses, right? A couple of things important. The S&P 500 continued to push higher yesterday as the U.S. 2-year yield wavered around the 3.5% market following a Federal Reserve or the Fed rate cut earlier this week. That was ultimately perceived as not that hawkish after all, right? The cuts is especially boosting the non-tech pockets of their markets. The S&P 500's equal weight index in catching up with the tech-heavy market cap weighted version. Long story short, well, how does that affect to us? Well, not only the the S&P 500, it is pushing. That also gets reflected also in the crypto markets. Let me just get you guys, of course, completed in here. There it is. All right, and like that. I think that would be much better. There you go. You guys look fabulous here. All right, let me actually just do this, and let's see how far up can I push. All right, perfect. Let's go. All right, so we also have new additions in here for you guys. Direct DGT. What's up, DGT? How is it going, my friend? Who else we got in here? We got Steve Hickey. What's up, brother? And Teed Up in the house. Welcome. Great to have you. Great to have you. Deborah, what's up, Deborah? Who else we got in here? Scar Jekyll. What's up, brother? Welcome. By the way, if I'm missing you, all said, what's up, bro? If I'm missing you, please tag me at Viper Academy, and I'll be more than happy to shout you out in here. Let's roll with the rest of the news because we have a lot of things to go over. So let's cut to the meat, all right? This is something reposted by CoinGlass, all right? So, Glassnode. Glassnode reposted Frank's a Feder posting here, and this is something interesting that I think has to do with getting approximately to the end of the year, where we might be seeing a December little pump, right? So everything's kind of like a matching in place. Here it goes. So he says on the recent Bitcoin sell-off, right? So what just happened this week, right? Short term, remember, short term. This is very important, not to be mistaken with like big terms or huge pumps or anything like that, right? Short-term holders experience the biggest 7-day change in their cost base since the 2022 FTX bottom at 16K. What does that mean? How can we read that? What does the data suggest, all right? So remember, keywords in here, and this is very important, all right? Biggest 7-day, all right, so just the last week. That's it. All right, just the last week change in there, and this is short-term holders. All right, so paper hands, I don't know, paper hands, copper hands, bronze hands, something like that. All right, so paper hands, short-term, right? They have experienced the greatest or the biggest sell-off since 2022. What does that mean? The tree has been shaken, all right? All of those, they just said, apples have fallen. So who's going to be selling right now? Are you going to be selling right now? I'm not, of course. Remember, I am buying a little bit on these areas. Something important, remember, I bought at 100K, bought back at the bottom, selling. Sorry about that. Selling back a little bit on the 100K mark, which we are not quite there yet. And then preparing myself to buy a little bit more in this range that we have. All right. So this means paper hands have been or are being shaking out in these past 7 days. So this is good for the price action here. So that means that most likely, not definitely, but most likely, we're going to be seeing a little push. And this is a caveat, guys. This is why I went first over the Bitcoin chart. Let's go and take a look at that once again. All right. So here we go. We have the Bitcoin chart. And remember what I mentioned. Let's go just a little bit behind or a little bit far away here. I believe that we are going to be seeing a breakout or break back in onto this trend line. I believe we're going to be doing something like that. It's still creating kind of like a parabolic, like inverted parabolic rundown, still creating kind of like either a fake out, all right, because we do have a trend line right now. It's very steep trend line like this, and technically that trend line has been broken. All right, so we need this to be a fake out for this to work. What is for this to work? The December pump, all right? And once again, December pump, I'm expecting somewhere around 100K, right? Somewhere in between this range right in here, somewhere around 199 and 106, all right? Something around those areas. So also very important, consolidation score, it's at 8, basically at the end of the consolidation, right? And that's why we are basically at the exact same point that we have been on the last week in here. So if we take a look at what had happened, it is basically nothing. All right, so if we go and just doing mathematical ranging here, we can do it with the, where is it, regression trend tool, and we can just measure it this way, and you see that we're pretty freaking flat, right? So we've been doing nothing in here. Once again, I believe because we are pretty bearish and we're about to break, break the range, I think we're going to have some sweep of the lows, so maybe swing failure pattern, and then push back up. Remember that we have another big and important trend line, which is the one coming down on us, all right? Let's go and take a look at that one. All right, so we already have broken this. Remember, this is nothing new. This is the big trend line that is still acting upon us, right? And this is where we left out on Friday. We needed to break above that trend line, and we didn't, right? This was plan B or C, and then, of course, this was plan B. So we have plan A, plan B, and plan B, and then plan C. Seems like plan B is playing out. Once again, I believe that we need to have at least this correction in here inside this block that we have marked in here. Hopefully, we don't go all the way down to 81. But if we go back to 81, I believe it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. All right. So long story short, let's get the feet on the ground right now, because I know, I was a little bit too pushy on the thumbnail, like the end is near, all right? And then seeing this data right here kind of like suggests that we are going to be pumping right now. I don't think that's going to be the case, all right? I think we're going to have a December pump, but I don't think that we're quite there yet. I still could be wrong, and we could be seeing just a turnaround of the price and then hitting back up to that 100K. So where are your areas of buying? All right, I think that is going to be the key factor in here. Let's go lower here on our setups, and let's just wait for this one in here. And once this is loaded, all right, all good. This is clean. Perfect. Let's go and start adding our indicators. Just for sake of time, I'm going to be throwing everything I got. So bear with me. This is going to be freakingly awful. All right. There we go. And then I'm going to start removing stuff. All right. Let's go piece by piece and analyze what we got on the Bitcoin chart. All right. The very first thing, we have a reversal. Look at another reversal. Those reversals have been playing fantastic. So if you have Chart Prime Pro, make sure you add those reversals to your chart and add an alert. All right. That's what I'm doing. Let's actually go ahead in here and let's click the 3 little dots. Let's go over the gear icon, and I'm going to go all the way down, and I'm going to click reversal up and reversal down. All right. Then I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click the wait for this little eye to stop moving. Once this is done, there is, I'm going to click the three dots. I'm going to add an alert. I'm going to make sure that any alert function call is selected. And I'm going to make sure to set, let's do message. And this message, it is, where are we saying it? Contracts, perpetual contracts, Binance. So it's BTC perp for me, all right? And reversal up and down. Okay, I'm gonna be using those for now. And then the next thing we're gonna be looking for is any kind of support and resistance. We are on a support. The next support is basically on the previous low, somewhere around 84. Let's click that 84, and of course, let's click all the way down when we have our next support zone. And that is because remember we have two blocks. Right now we are on one, right? And let's just recall it. Right now we are on one, and then we have the other one. All right. So if you're looking for an area to entry, I would suggest, and this is not financial advice, all right? This is not financial advice, but I would be looking for, first of all, let me go over my oscillators here, right? Breaking through the zero line on my money flow, which we're very close to do, right? And then this goose head breaking or moving to the upside. That will be my entry. But I believe that we're going to hit the 84 first. In fact, we're moving. We are quote unquote dumping, just moving a little bit to the downside. All right. So once again, I think that we're nailing it down. There we go. I think our next possible entry is going to be at 84. Let's add a possible long here. All right. Let's go over that. Where is the long position? Here it is. And that is it. All right, so I think that we've been spending already too much time in here. I'm going to keep it as is, 116, because this is going to be a compound entry. My very first entry have a position in here, and my secondary entry have another position right there. All right, somewhere around 81, 380. And that will be for basically a daily double bottom. All right, so that's what I got so far on Bitcoin. Let's continue to the news, but I think that I need to go and check you guys out. So let's go here into the zone. Let's see. Let me get up to date here. Rip chat we got right here. Piper still a wool. He is on vacation, man. All said, what's up? Curtis, what's up, my friend? Brokoshi, what's up? Who else we got here? Hey, Crypto Billy, what's up, my friend? Great to have you. Announcer voice. What? Donaro Cabrera, what's up, bro? I love it. It took me a minute to read that through that area, but yeah, kind of look at my brain. It had a short secret right there, but thank you. Let's see who else we got in here. I think that we're caught up. Oh, Stephen Hockey. Yeah, oh, we already shouted you out. So triple shout out to you, my friend. And let's take a look. Let's go and take a look at the rest of the news, shall we? Okay, so this is where we left out, basically having the bigger 7 days for paper hands losses, right? So they're just closing those shorts and longs. We're going to be pushing this step to the right, and you'll see why in a second, all right? Somewhere around there, I believe. And we're going to go and take a look at some other stuff on X Mark the Spot. Just in by Bitcoin Magazine, SEC, Crypto Task Force to host a roundtable. Hopefully that has no sharp edges, of course, on financial surveillance and privacy today. Well, again, I don't freaking like this at all, but it's just a necessary step if we want to see, crypto progress into the finance world, right? It's just the way it needs to go. The only thing, remember, if you're in the US, remember to vote for the representative that represent your interest in crypto. That is very, very, very important. But yeah. I mean, so far, let's take a look at this really quickly. We have the opening, the discussion of financial surveillance and privacy. Hopefully, that doesn't go that bad because we have a couple of important names in here. What else we have here? A little break, a panel of financial surveillance and privacy, moderators, and we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to be following this in closely because of the surveillance part and privacy. I mean, I don't know how those two things go together. Well, I think because it's a balance, but you don't have privacy if you have surveillance, is it? I just say that it should be as transparent as it should, but it should not be enforcing stuff onto people. Like, I mean, the blockchain, it is not fakeable, so you can trace every single thing. It's not like cash, is it? So I'm just saying. All right. Oh, come on. Don't tell me that I F things up. All right, let me see if I can bring that one up here. Give me 1 second. And here it is. I believe this was it. All right. So yeah, this was a pretty important one. Let me just push it right there. Okay, the U.S. labor market is coming to a halt. This is not good, but we'll see. The total non-farm hiring rates fell over or around 0.2% percentage points in October. All right, a little bit back, farther back to 3.2, the lowest since 2020 pandemic bottoms. That's not good. And remember, we talked about this when it happened on October, right? And we've been keeping the the finger on that line. Over the last 4 years, this figure has declined 1.4% for percentage points to levels in line with December 2008. By comparison, during the 2001 recession, the hiring rate was much higher at 3.7, 4.0. Furthermore, the private hiring rates fell to a 3.5 in October and the lowest since January 2011, in line with the 2020 lows. All right, so the U.S. labor market has declined. Guys, this is just something that we saw coming. All right, this is a mixture, like this is a pancake mixture, right? And a lot of things happening in here. One of those, this is the first result in the tariff, right? Remember, I talked about this, right? Remember, I told you I have good friends in the States, actually, that they run like quote unquote small business. All right. So what happened with that quote unquote small business? Well, they outsourced some of their manufacture from China, and then based on the tariff, well, then they needed to migrate that from there to here, and well, then that costs a lot more, and they don't have enough means to sustain the same kind of hiring rate that they had before. Because let's be real here, and this is something that happens with countries in growth, right? And I'm not saying that was wrong or anything. I'm just explaining or stating the facts. All right, it is that as people, right, in this ongoing growth economy, well, get better paid for less work. Well, that is what we all want, right? Working less and getting paid better, right? And what happens is that you tend to go for more administrative jobs. All right, so you start seeing more people being about administrative jobs, and then the actual manufacturing power gets outsourced, where it's much cheaper to produce the thing. So the thinking is being done in the US, and then the manufacturing is being done overseas. All right, overseas. What happened, for example, with China, and this is important, and I want to bring this up in a little second in here, because this is something important I want to show you. But what happened in the US? Well, some of that know-how actually got migrated to China. That is freakishly important. I mean, you cannot state how important this is. All right. Why? Because now we're just creating, or like the US is just doing the administrative work, and not really doing now the thinking, right? You actually just, I mean, it used to be that a couple of months ago, you just call out the phone, right? Hey, China, I want you to solve me this problem. Do you manufacture this and this and that? Yes. Or no, but we can do it for you. All right. And then you send base drawings. They work on that. They pull it back into you, right? I'm not saying that they were great quality, but I'm just saying that they had already the expertise. They already have trained people to do the thinking, right? And that is dangerous. Why? Because remember, if they can do the thinking too, and they already have the doing part, right? Or the making, manufacturing part, well, then guess who's out of the game? The US economy, right? So I think that was the first point why the tariffs were applied. I think they were too extensively applied. I think that there should have been a secondary program to help with that transition, to bring back the thinking and bring back part of the manufacturing. But since that was not, I wouldn't say poorly executed, but I don't know if I could execute that in a country scale. But what I'm trying to say is that, well, as we have to push or bring manufacturing here, administrative jobs, well, they got second-handed, because if you cannot produce the thing, well, what are you going to be needing, like administrative guys, right? If you're not selling the thing, so you need to go back and on square one. And I think that's what's happening, right? We're seeing right now the layoff of a private business not hiring because they're still figuring out their production, right? And the inner works on its thing. This is not like a 1 year to another. Is this going to bring up some better manufacturing? Yes, if it's played correctly. What do I mean with that? Well, you need incentive, right? To, hey, pay less taxes, manufacturing for cheaper locally, right? To prefer locally, either because it's cheaper or because you have a way higher quality. And for that, you need to bring back quality education, right? Not only the thinking, but also the craftsmanship that has been lost. So remember the Made in the USA pride, right? Or proud. Remember also we had that thing in Mexico, right? Made in Mexico with a big eagle of it. So I think we need to work that as a society. We're already into this thing, right? And we need to try to make the most of it. But this is a part of what's going on. Another part of what's going on here, this is going to have a bigger implication on who is spending things. Getting back at the possible pump that we might have. Remember, that's why it is a short-term December pump. So far, with the data that we have at the moment, for me, it's indicating that we're going to have that little retracement to make the double bottom, right? Double bottom, and then pushing onto a December pump somewhere around 100K, 106 so far. If you want to talk about, all-time highs or bigger dead cat bounce, well, we would need to see some big economic changes impulsing or being in line with the actual reality. There's two realities in here. One, the S&P 500 just rocketing. This is just pushing. And well, also the NASDAQ, all right? More than 10%. And we also have the second reality, which is what most of us live in, right? Which is the employment in here. So those are two different realities. At some point, they will have to meet together, and that is going to be disastrous, right? If we're not prepared. So for one, look at good investments, and for two, we'll look at what's going on in the actual population. Because at this point, well, then free money, rate cuts, well, that's an incentive for buying more stocks, and that will push us in the indexes higher. All right. So long story short, be prepared. Let's go and take a look at here. Again, from the Kobayashi later, October retail sales data. So what are we going to be seeing on the calendar? October retail sales, there come on. December, we're going to be looking at October's. Great, right? That's coming on Tuesday. November job report again on Tuesday. November CPI data again on Tuesday. Everything is in freaking Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So basically, today nothing that much interesting. And we can see it reflected in here. Of course, as you can see, the one marked in red are the most important ones, right? Not paying farm rolls, non-paying farm rolls, OCT, retail sales, unemployment rate, November. This is the one that I'm very interested on. And well, then Thursday, of course, core inflation. And remember, oh, by the way, I saw a news. I lost the news, but I remember I was saving it for X mark the spot, which says Donald Trump says inflation under control. Yeah, right. We'll see how that goes. All right. Let's move into right now back in here. All right. Let's go over the Fed watch. Remember what we talked about. And right now we're around a 73.4 to 26.6, basically staying where we are. But again, this is not a insignificant rate. We'll see how that goes. Now, let's take a look at the real-time liquidations. So this is going to get interesting because we're going to be tidying this up with the Bitcoin price as we go. All right. So very quickly here, 1 hour Rex, 4 hour Rex, 24-hour Rex, $451 million. Holy moly. Most liquidated longs in the past 24 hours, 1,400, 1,000, what, sorry, 100, my goodness, 145,128 traders were liquidated. The total liquidation comes in at 451.44 million. The largest single liquidation order happening on Binance, on Bitcoin at 5.52 million. That just updated. Yesterday night was on Ethereum, bro. But, well, seems like they just got one. Look at that. They're getting wrecked right now as we speak. They're getting wrecked on Bitcoin and Ethereum. There you go. And Binance. It needed to be Binance. All right. So let's go and take a look at here. And remember what we talked about, a possible double bottom, right? Possible retracement before pumping up. Well, look at what we got in here. Somewhere around 87. That's where we have the heat mapping here, right? And, well, that will be inclined to go somewhere to get a double bottom in here and then pushing back up. So it will make sense to go and get these liquidations if we can, because moving this time or this kind of price action might be a little bit difficult. So we could be seeing that retracement maybe somewhere around this area and then going to hit these ones here just to clear up back and forth. But so far, the brighter spot, it is at 87. All right, I would say that as we start ranging, we're going to be seeing this kind of heat map readjust as we go. Sorry about that. All right, let's dive this with a cryptocurrency liquidation max pain. All right, so what is going to be the max pain? Very close to where we're seeing this heat mapping here. If we take a look at Bitcoin, max pain is somewhere around 86,651. What do we see here? 87. All right, so 86 is just quite a little bit lower here. Maybe going for the farther move to the downside. But remember, we don't always clear it all the way. Nonetheless, we could be there looking for that push to the downside and then a possible bounce. Why? Because we have no more paper hands that would be selling, right? On Ethereum, that will be 2,993. Solana, that will be a 127, and XRP 1.91. So I think that this is going to be giving us a good area to where we can start looking for a couple of pumps in here. And I'm going to be starting to use this one on tomorrow's show to start calling out for a couple of trades. All right, so we're going to be combining hard data with trade seeking throughout this week. Another important part in here in CoinGlass, it's a distribution where longs and shorts opening and closings are, right? So you can see everything it's in the red in here. So we're seeing long being closed, either because of stop loss, right, or because they see that they is going lower, and short entries, right? So people are entering short. So that this is important because despite we have, right, a maximum pain at 86, everybody's looking at this and they're saying, hey, we could be going lower, right? So let's open up a short and take advantage of that. This is the key factor. Hey, Piper in the house. Piper, stay at the end. I have a fantastic surprise for you, an Easter egg on the outro. So I want to take a look at it and let me how much you love it. All right. So here's something important that this at first glance might be telling you, hey, well, we should be shorting. Everybody's shorting, right? But remember that when everybody goes somewhere, usually the market does the opposite and wrecks everyone, right? That's why you see a very common topic that everyone got wrecked, right? And then if you ask everyone like around you, yeah, it hit me, it hit me, it hit me, it hit me, because everyone is following everyone. And then market reacts the other way around because of the unbalanced. So this is telling me that first, initially, because of the selling pressure, so nobody's buying at this point because everybody's freaking shorting, right? They are asking to borrow Bitcoin or altcoins in this point, right? So let's take a look at here. Well, short closing AV or whatever that is, right? But you can see that most of them, they're going for shorts. So initially, I think that we're going to have that pullback to the downside, and then we're going to be seeing people that got short are going to get wrecked, all right? Once again, falling in line with the Bitcoin chart that is telling us, hey, we should be going lower, where people are going to be shorting, and then we could be going up and get those shorts. All right. So that is very important, tying these two together and not falling for the possible quote unquote fake sense of security that, hey, if everybody's doing it, you should be doing it, right? Like my mom would say at this point, hey, if your best friend jumps into the well, are you going to also jump into the well? And that's what you do in awkward silence and thinking about it. Yeah, well, if everybody doing it, why shouldn't I? This is what I tell you, bro. This is where you understand your mother. All right. So yeah, long story short, you don't follow your friends into the well. All right. You just watch it from the top. You're the one pulling them out. All right, so let's go over another interesting thing. After all the hopium, after all the bearish feeling and stuff, and this is something that I thought I was starting with this news, but this is something that I don't really stand by. I'm just reading the Be in Crypto news, all right? So keep these at the back of your head. All right. So let's just take a look at here. 3 icons that could hit all-time highs this third week of December. Come on. Beat what? Beat and rain. I mean, just look at those names, guys. I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was hilarious, right? This kind of like quote unquote analysis. And again, this is kind of like a joke for me, right? I'm not gonna be buying any of those. But maybe I could be looking at, I don't know, Bit just because of the name, and Rain maybe, but Peeping, not really. Don't count me in there. All right, I just thought it was hilarious. Just wanted to bring this up. Let's go and take a look at one of my favorite sites, Poly Markets. All right, so what is the feeling around Poly Markets at this point? Thanks. Just got on ground. Oh, let's get it. Nice. Fed decision in January. Yes or no? So the very first, the hot topic right now, it's Fed. Right then the Super Bowl. Who will Trump nominate at Fed chair? Oh, we'll see, man. We'll see how that goes. I mean, that's pretty deep in here, pretty wild. We'll see how that goes. But so far they're pretty freaking tight. Two Kevins, Haster and Warsh. We'll see who wins. So far, they're pretty tight. And then will Maduro out by December or January? Dude, every single time I see a news about him, I just cringe so much that I look like a raisin. Oh my god, that's just so cringy to see him. Oh, brother. Uh, how many gold cards will Trump sell 2025? I mean, 20 gold cards. Oh, yeah, the gold cards. 91%. Oh, I would actually go for 8% because I think there is like pretty wealthy people that might be interested in this, right? And I mean, I'm talking about uh United Arabs zone, right? I mean, somewhere around there. I think they might have the capital and they may be interesting just, to pay for an easy way in. Um just because, right? But that is just my thought. And will Trump release Epstein files? We'll see how that plays. But so far, December 65 or December 31, 75. So basically, they're getting it as a fact. We'll see how that goes. So another one interesting: who will be the first to leave the Trump cabinet? All right, we'll see how that goes. But other than that, let's take a look at now, once again, the Bitcoin chart. Let's take a look at the daily. I want to take a look at the daily. And, we're in the daily. Let's take a look at the weekly, sorry. And on the weekly, I want to bring up something interesting. And here's the thing. Let me bring this up. Right now, on the weekly, we already have a flip of the ribbon, but this is an inverted goose head. What does an inverted goose head means? It means further retracements for then to see something like this, which indicates this thing here. You see how everything is falling in line for this retracement to happen, right? And then a little pump back up to either the zero line, which will coincide with this block in here, somewhere around the 100K. What this block? Because that's where we see the wicks in there, all right? And then if we go into lower time frames, we have the range in there too. All right, so that would be it for today, guys. Be careful, be patient today in the market, and we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But keep your eyes on Bitcoin. I think throughout this week, we might have good and interesting things to jump in. All right. Other than that, guys, stay for the outro. Let me know if you like it and enjoy the little Easter egg. Nothing too serious, but just a little Easter egg for you guys. All right. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining, and see you guys tomorrow.
That's the rap. Chart stack, data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time. Alumni strong, we built from the grind. Lessons in the market that'll outlive time. Knowledge is profit, you know how we run. Till the next one, stay sharp, get it done. We'll see you at the next one.
Don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Morning market report out. Boom shakalaka. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report out. We'll see you at the next one. Morning market report. Ow.
That was awesome, dude.
Hey, it didn't break. What else you got?
That's the rap. Chart stack, data never lie. Piper led the mission, OC in the sky. Spaghetti on the screen, but the vision stay prime. Chart prime visual, signals on time.